what we're going to be doing today is called composition and drone moves. So I'm going to go through a few of the files that I have uploaded, just to give you some illustrations of the way you can shoot with the light, shoot with your composition, and shoot with your drone moves, which is really important. And actually understanding the drone moves is going to give you an opportunity to actually build a more meaningful portfolio. So when you understand the different moves that you can make, then you kind of go out and say, okay, let me shoot it like this, and let me shoot it like that, and you just try and find these different drone movements. So the drone movements that I wrote today are not exhaustive, meaning there are other drone moves, but I'm going to give you an illustration of the different drone moves that you can shoot. And as this challenge is lasting another 30 days, it'll give you the opportunity to go out. It'll give you the opportunity to showcase your photos and your videos within the WhatsApp group, so other people can see what you're shooting and can also give us inspiration, but it can also give us the opportunity to critique your work and to improve it. So of course, we're not here to point fingers. It's really an effort in showing you what works and what looks good. So I have to drink a little bit because I'm talking a lot. Hi, Stephen, how are you doing? Are you in your boat? Hi there. So first thing, I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to go through the short presentation and talk to you and show you a few things. And then what we're going to be doing, so then I'll be asking you some questions, what you think is cinematic, and then we will jump into the WhatsApp group and also have a look at what you're shooting and talk about why you're shooting this and how you're shooting it, and understanding what my changing environment means. So people think, oh, it's just data centers. It's not data centers. So I'll give you an example. I'm building a house at the moment, and I'm documenting that. So from complete flat field to them digging, and then I'm filming the diggers, and then they're doing the foundation. So I'm going to document that. So that's my changing environment at the moment, which will be happening over the next couple of months. And so one person said to me today, like, oh, you know, I mean, I'm on this small island here, and there's not really much going on. There's no, and like, but aren't there any like developments? And oh yeah, there's a hotel coming up. I'm like, okay, why don't you go and document that? You know, because then there might be a story about behind that. It's like the person was saying, you know, it's like a poor island, and they don't have a lot of finances. But then it's also interesting to find out like who's developing this from a journalistic point of view. Is it like somebody from the capital, big international investment, or is it actually local investment? So I think that's also really important to document our environment and to story tell what is happening in our environment. So sometimes we might think that what's happening next door to us is not actually important. What's happening on the other side of the world is more important. Well, that's not the case. We have the opportunity to tell the stories of where we live. So I'm going to jump into the presentation. So let me just go to the top. Okay, great. So this presentation is called Composition and Drone Moves. So this is more down the lines of, okay, let's make sure what we're shooting is in the right way. So before moving on to that, I just wanted to clarify some of the minimum requirements that are necessary at Amazing Aerial. These are requirements that we have set up because of our partner agencies. So if they don't abide to these requirements, then on their side, they won't be accepted. So first of all, on the photo side, it says, so first of all, it's a JPEG. It's 3,000 pixels on the short side. So this was, I'll tell you why this is one of the issues, and why it was a problem long ago, and it's not so much a problem today, is that in the olden days with the Mavic 1, it would be shooting in 12 megapixels, and actually the short side was like 2,992, and you had to export it and upscale it by a few pixels to get to the 3,000 pixels on the short side. So as I said, those are the requirements from our partner agencies. Today, being able to shoot in 48 megapixels or 100 megapixels, that's not so much of an issue, but we're still coming across this. So really make sure on the short side, it's 3,000 pixels on the short edge. Another issue that we have coming across is when people are shooting in 16, so shooting photos 16 by 9. So instead of being like 4 by 3, the ratio, it's 16 by 9. So meaning the top part and the bottom part actually cut off from your photo. So it actually means that you're losing pixels. So instead of it being, again, like short side 3,000, it's going down to maybe 2,000. So again, if you're shooting at 100 megapixels and you're shooting in 16 by 9, it's not so much of a problem. So, but we're trying to kind of set these standards. So of course, it has to be color. And so there's no black and white, no duplicates. So please be careful that you don't kind of shoot complete similars and upload a lot of them. And also there's another limitation, which is 45 megabytes file. So it cannot be larger than that. So this is also an issue nowadays where our photos have a high quality, and also we're shooting panoramas. So a lot of the times our files are way bigger than that. So we need to downsize them a little bit and be under the 45 megabytes limits for photos. So I'm talking to some of our agencies to see if we can bring that higher, but these are the requirements for the moment. So for video now, let's talk about video. So we only accept 4K, so not 5K, and not HD, and only MP4. So we don't accept .mov. And so these are the video files. So this document is actually available, so you can always come back to it. And the clips need to be between 5 and 59 seconds. So we actually have filters for that. So if it is over 59 seconds, it will be rejected. And if it's under 5, it will also be rejected in the upload process. And so another issue we got from our editor today was that in terms of when you export your video, some people have been putting like 200 CBR, which is the bit rate, and you should be putting around 40 or 50. And so I'll tell you what happens is that if you put like 50 as a CBR, you might find yourself with a file size of maybe 200 megabytes. But if you put a higher CBR, then you might find yourself with like a 1 gigabyte or 2 gigabyte file. So you really need to also make sure that your file isn't too big. And of course, there's a 1 gigabyte file size. So some people might have like a 5-second video, but it's already 1 gigabyte. So also at the time of export, really make sure that that your settings are correct. And another issue was you need to turn off the audio. So there's actually a click button saying no audio. Otherwise, it actually exports it, even though there's no sound, it actually exports it with some kind of audio track. So just click the no audio. So these are the requirements. So moving on to I want to kind of do the do's and don'ts. And these are the do's and don'ts of the drone moves. So one of the don'ts is to film too fast. So one of our videographers, he had the good intention to go out and shoot as much as possible in a short time span. But what's happening with his footage is that he wanted to shoot it too fast to move on to the next play. So it's you need to find the right speed, so not too slow and definitely not too fast. And if it's too fast, it just kind of doesn't really look right. So it has to be a good pace. The other issue, second, okay. So the other issue that we were having is that the clips weren't properly clipped. So it's really important that you have one drone move per clip. So if you're shooting, let's say, over 3 or 4 minutes and you're flying in this direction and then you turn and you're looking around, you find another direction and you turn again and you find another direction, you need to cut those out. So all those drone moves, those dropped drone moves, they need to be cut out. So Felipe, who's doing our YouTube videos at the moment, he's kind of trying to edit them, and then all of a sudden, whoop, the drone kind of moves direction abruptly, and that won't fit. So he's also talking from the point of view of an editor. So buyers that are going to download our clips, if they come across this, then it's also going to affect our reputation as well in terms of the quality of what we're actually delivering. So the other point, or the third point, is change the subject in mid-clip. So he was saying that, like, for example, if you're filming something and it's in your shots and you're like maybe moving, and then all of a sudden you kind of you change your mind and think, okay, let me now add this subject into it. So it's you need to shoot with that kind of intention, like knowing what you're going to shoot and maybe like sticking to that. And then if you want to shoot something else, or if you want to shoot 2 subjects, then there are also techniques for that. So I can also show that afterwards in the next. Yeah, so I mentioned about the file size, and also to be consistent in your movements. So that's also understanding the different drone moves that you have. So we can also establish a list for you, and I'm going to show you a few, and we'll be able to establish a more exhaustive list as we go on through this challenge. So now the do's. So first do is like have in mind what you want to shoot and to shoot with intention. So what is also possible is that you can do like a probe flight. You can kind of go up and fly around and see what's around you. And whilst you're doing that, you can identify what you do want to shoot. And then once you've identified what you do want to shoot, then you actually go and shoot it. Craig Dennis, who's now on this call, who shot all the clips for the BBC series, he had in mind, like, okay, I know when I'm going to start, I know when I'm going to end, and I'm going to do the editing within the camera, so within the drone. So okay, now I'm ready. This is the shot I want to do. I press play, I do my shot, and then I got to my end of my shot, and then I stop. And basically, you've already done the editing. So that also means that you can basically take that clip and upload it straight away without necessarily putting it through a video editor. So that's what it means in terms of intention, knowing exactly what you want to shoot, getting the composition, maybe knowing where you're going to be starting, where you're going to be ending, and maybe even like before you actually do shoot the video, knowing you kind of moving the drone a little bit, maybe moving the gimbal up, saying, okay, this is how I'm going to do it, and then you shoot with intention. And if you have, let's say, troubles doing that, like clip the beginning and the end, but if you kind of understand the technique of like starting recording and then ending recording, then you can actually get it within the drone. So then coming to the best angle, that means like, okay, you've decided what your subject is, flying around saying, okay, this is the good light, this is what I'm going to do. So I'm kind of getting the right angle of what you're shooting. So that's also really important. And this fourth one is variables of the same clip. So you're basically shooting a wider angle, maybe a closer one, then a top view of it. And that means that if an editor wants to build a story with your clips, he can take multiple clips to actually tell his story. So, for example, you're shooting a car, and he's driving, and you can like maybe follow him. Then you get the wider view of it, so like he's in his environment, and then you can kind of shoot him from a top down. So you can get these multiple clips from from the same subject, but from different angles. So that's also important to build. So when a buyer is searching for some clips and your clip comes up, he says, oh, this is a really nice one. And then he got the recommended one, like the similar ones, these one fits with these. So then, oh, okay, these are the multiple clips that I have for this subject, which is really important. I mean, for those of you who do storytelling and filmmaking, you know how important it is to get multiple clips from different angles when you're telling your story. So the next point is light. So if you're trying to portray, let's say, a tropical beach, then you need to maybe get it in the right light. So you don't want to like shoot on necessarily on like a cloudy day. And you just need to also identify what you're shooting, how you want to shoot it, and understanding like the different lights. If you're shooting in like full daylight or if you're shooting it in the evening. So you need to really understand that. So I actually wanted to, I actually have it on the next slide, where I'm going to give you two examples of the same location, but just shot at two different lights, the different times of the day. And of course, the last point is movement. So it's not too fast and not too slow. So you want to have some movement that you're seeing that there's some kind of action, but you don't want to fly too fast that it just doesn't look so natural. So the next point, before kind of showing you some examples, I wanted to ask you, and so you can also unmute yourself. I want to ask you, all right, what is cinematic for you? When you see a film or you see a great clip, what is it that makes you feel like, oh, wow, this is cinematic? So I wanted to kind of give you the mic a couple of minutes just to tell me what you think is cinematic. And maybe raise your hand. Yeah. So David? Oh, sorry, David just came in. Just raise your hand who wants to just say what they think is cinematic. So Jennifer?
Hi, good morning. I think it's more of like the slower videos that we have going. So like if something's going over a landscape, for example, maybe like more of a slower movement versus a very fast movement. So that speaks cinematic to me.
Great. So this got to do with how the eye perceives movement. So yeah, slower movement is more cinematic than a fast movement. Great, thanks, Jennifer. Sinbad?
Yeah, so what's cinematic for me, and I've watched so many drone stuff on socials to get inspiration. I mean, I'm a big fan of, honestly, I'm sure everybody's familiar with here, the mountain surfers, for those that do the FPV videos where they just dive the drone down the mountains. So for me, cinematic is the shot that sort of gives life to the space you're in a very unique way. Like, I don't think there's a one size fits all cinematic that you just do for everything. So kind of going back to the intent, like, hey, if you're on mountains, the cool mountain surfing angle, or, you know, maybe there is a slow, somber cinematic shot for this like misty forest lake that you found. So that's some cinematic to me, the complementary shot.
Okay, great, thanks, Sinbad. It's very nice. Marcus?
Hi there. Excuse any background noise. I'm in the airport just now, about to fly.
Okay.
So the first thing that I can't remember the lady's name who spoke first about the slow movement, because I feel like that's a trap for definition of cinematic. Because if you look at some very well done FPV drone footage, it's very fast and some things are whooshing past, but it still manages to be cinematic in the right context, if you know what I mean. So I think the classic cinematic of like the locked off horizon moving slowly. I've been experimenting recently, not getting good results yet because I'm not very good, but experimenting with the FPV mode on a normal drone to try and have that kind of banking and turning through a subject that requires banking and turning. Because if you watch a movie where they're going down a valley, they don't have the horizon locked off as they bank as if it's a plane following them. So I feel like that's also cinematic as well. But like the guy said before, I don't think there's a single definition.
Okay, great. Good. No, I think that's really interesting. Yeah. So it's not necessarily only a slow moving shot, but it can also be, if it's a FPV, can also be cinematic because it's got to do with what you actually want to showcase and in the way you want to do it. Great. Thanks,
And
Marcus.
I think you could even have a
Okay.
jarring movement if the subject required it. You know, if there was something that dropped from the sky and boom in front of the camera, I think it would still remain cinematic even if there was a sudden direction change, as long as it did the actions. So yeah, okay, sorry, thanks.
Yeah, well, I think that also comes from the point of like the intention, right? So I think if there's a clear intention, then maybe that will also be cinematic. So whether if you want to do FPV and fast, that can be cinematic. But yeah, so it's also got to do with the intention. I'm just going to also write that. So great. Abjit?
Yeah, hi.
Hi,
For
Abjit.
me, cinematic is nothing but visually powerful or emotionally immersive experience. So it should be intentionally crafted, like you said, which should help to build a story. So you should provide your story with your shots. So it can be slow, it can be fast, it can be anything, but it should be visually immersive, or the storytelling should be there.
Okay, so it has to be immersive to help to tell the story. Great, that makes complete sense. Thanks a lot. Rogel from the Philippines.
Yes, hi Paul. Hi everyone.
Hi, Rogel.
It's evening here in the Philippines. Yeah, but for me, I've been filming for quite a while for documentary films and then working with some directors both here in the Philippines and abroad. But for me, cinematic is more on, well, as they had said earlier, it's more on focus on the storytelling. And at the same time, considering the lights. So it doesn't matter if it's fast or slow, but more on focus on the storytelling. So that's cinematic.
Okay, so cinematic is about the storytelling. Okay, so yeah, that kind of couples a little bit with what Abjit was saying. Great. Thanks for that, Rogel. Jonathan Siemens?
Yeah, thank you. For me, the most important thing about cinematic shots is the correct lighting. The best when the sun is low, maybe not too low, but a low light. I think it's the most important thing about cinematic shots. It's the best when the landscape is beautiful too, but I think the most important thing is really the light, low light. Makes every shot cinematic, in my opinion.
Okay, so you're talking about like having a lower light rather than a harsher light.
Yeah, right.
Okay, great, makes sense. Jack Taylor, Jack.
Hello. Yes, cinematic shots for me. I think it almost says it in the name. So a cinema or a theater, depending where you're from, is where you go to watch something that's going to take your breath away or really engage your brain. So yeah, for me, it's kind of anything that's an individual shot that is going to make someone go, I've never thought about it that way, or I've seen that in a new way, or makes the hair stand up on your skin. That for me, that's a cinematic shot. If it's a target that you've done loads and loads of times before, or people see in their everyday to day life, you can't offer a new perspective on it, or something that's going to make the hair stand up. That's kind of what cinematic is to me, a new perspective or something that gets someone excited. Or not excited is the wrong word. That revokes an emotion. There you go. That's what I'll say.
Great. That's great. I love that. I love it. I love all these different aspects to see what makes something cinematic. So I'm just writing all these because I think they're really important. Great, Jack. I love that what you said.
Cheers.
Yeah, Nermin, how are you?
Hey,
From
hi Paul.
Serbia.
Yeah.
Hi.
Well, from my standpoint, like because I've started like 12 years ago, and I started firstly like a filmmaker, and I have been adapting to the marketplace throughout the years. So basically, I'm adapting my kind of approach to contributing to stock platforms and making my own journey into the like I was talking 2 days ago with the Michele just about adapting style into a commercial way of doing the stock photography and filmmaking. And I have a lot of friends who are DPs and directors over here in Serbia. So in the terms when it comes to a term of cinematic, it when it comes to a technical stuff, and it's a blend of a lot of stuff. Cinematic is everything that has to do with something that it can be basic stuff, but that you cannot see in a way that we are seeing it every single day. So in the terms of for exception, if it is if it has something to do with the lighting, um, it doesn't have to be as they say, chiaroscuro in Italian, or just like having a blend of a lot of darks and shadows and um, uh, and the lighting. It comes to the way that we see something in a way that is ordinary stuff, but you put it in a context of um, that you cannot the average viewer isn't seeing it every single day. So when it comes to if we're talking about the colors, um, I think the preparation for any kind of filming or photographing, the preparation is 50% or 75% of your whole work when it comes to if you want to nail it really hard, because the time of the day, the angle of the light, everything comes, it's a blend of like 10 to 12 things when it comes to make it to look cinematic. It doesn't have anything to do just with the movement, or just with the lighting, or just with the colors. So it's basically the blend of everything that you see every single day, but the average viewer doesn't see it in that way, and we are those who are making it to look kind of in a context of something. So if we're shooting a beautiful beach, everyone knows that that beach in a real world doesn't look like that, but we are making it to pop out from different angles, from or filming some kind of a mountain, etc. So cinematic comes to uh, blending everything and good preparation in a context. What do you want to achieve when you're filming it? I would say like that.
Right. Cool. Very interesting. I'm actually really pleased with this question that I'm asking, because it gives it definitely a wider perspective, and I really love it. And I'm writing it all down, so I'm going to show it to you afterwards. Nenmin, thanks a lot. Stefan, who's capable of making some amazing cinematic shots, who's also a documentary filmmaker. So tell us your perspective.
I think it's hard to add something. There have been so many informations already. I think one main thing is to be conscious what you're doing, what you want to shoot. And it's also something about smoothness, like having smooth image quality and a good composition and a concept. So it's like a lot of things getting together, and to exactly know what you're shooting and why you're shooting it. And for sure, for the premium images, you get like this beautiful golden light, or when the sun is down. But I think I want to add, in terms of stock footage, I think it's not always the case to just have things in a super nice, beautiful light, because sometimes you need to have like the common light, because people add things in a film and maybe they shot everything in midday, and they need shots in midday to make them mix. So just these golden hour sunset things doesn't always work to tell the story the client wants to tell. So that's why I sometimes go a few times on spots on midday, or when the light is a bit harsher or more regular, and sometimes I go to the golden hour, because I realize when I work for clients, drone jobs, they always have shitty times to shoot. And once my direct client was like, "Hey, don't show the client the super sunset, because later on he wants me to put it in the film, but that doesn't work because we shot everything around noon." So, and people, if they buy, I think they look for a lot of different things. Yeah. But also to add on in cinematic, it's like that you don't have like jerky moves, and also like knowing with the shutter. So you having like that 180-degree shutter, or playing a little bit with it, but not having like a shuttering movement while flying drone, while you're using a thousandth of a shutter time or something. Yeah. And the speed, like the one set with the FPV, it's not about the speed, but it have to be smooth. I think a good cinematic move is always kind of smooth. Depends.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Stefan has a great point there, is that not every shot has to be cinematic, because I mean, also when you kind of like see series or films, a lot of the times it's the establishing shots which are way cinematic to put you into the mood, but then you've got the story. So it's not as if everything has to be 100% cinematic, but when you make a film. So I just wanted to thanks Stefan for that. I want to bring Craig. Craig, are you here from Miami?
Hello there.
Hey, Craig. Could you just tell us what your intention was when you were shooting for the shots of Miami for the BBC? So what did you put into your mind that you said that you had to achieve? And also in terms of, they were also talking about frame rates. So can you just give your perspective on that?
So what was cool about that is we actually had a direction from their creative team as some specific shots that they needed. So we went in with a goal to get things that they were looking for. They were very specific about their frame rate to match with the footage they were getting on the ground and in their production. So we had to shoot at 25 frames a second, which is something I usually don't shoot in for my drone stuff. So we just had to calculate for that, use the correct neutral density filter to maintain exposure. But yeah, so keeping smooth movements, focusing on, the subject that they wanted, which was cars moving through a road. So like really slow cinematic movements, right time of day as well. I approached it a lot of the shots in early morning light, as opposed to like a 12 noon or afternoon approach where the sun's quite harsh. So it's about lighting, it's about movements, keeping, smooth, confident, consistent movements. Try not to jerk the camera, don't shoot the gimbal up, do it very gradually. A few of the shots, I actually switched the drone in cinematic mode, which moves actually kind of too slow for what you want a lot of the times. But it does have a purpose, the cinematic mode. But I found, the shots that worked out best were actually in normal mode, because it's just kind of the right fluidity that you're looking for.
And why did you choose the morning rather than the evening?
Direction of where we were going, where the sun would be, as opposed to actually one of the locations we shot was late afternoon, early evening. One of the major intersection roadways. So it really depends on your subject. Research ahead of time if you can. Use Google Maps, Apple Maps, to try and just see kind of where the sun's going to be at if you're pre-planning, which is, I would say, recommended if you can. Instead of just running out there blind.
Great. Yeah, somebody gave me an app, showed me the app. I think it was whilst we were on our Albania tour. I have to find out what the app is called. But it's really great. It gives you basically shadow times and even shows you in advance. You basically scroll like that on a map, and it basically gives you the shadow.
Put that in a WhatsApp group so we can all.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Great. So thanks for that. I think we've got some really good perception of what cinematic means. So it's not just the drone move, it's a combination of first intention and creative direction and an understanding of different elements of light and movement. So again, I will put this document up within the challenge, so you can of course access it and download it. So I want to move on to the next part of this, where I wanted to give you some examples. So let me share my screen again, and I need to share it in a different way this time because I think window, here you go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Here it is. Okay, so let's talk about drone moves. So you have the simple one, which is like forward and backwards, and which is quite straightforward. And I will give you some examples there. Yeah. So the other one is like a spotlight. So use the function to keep subject in the frame. So I have the two drones. I have the Mini 3, and I have the Mavic 4 Pro. And the Mavic 4 Pro, of course, the software is way more advanced. And just on screen, you have all those functions, which is like the spotlight functions, where you can just highlight part of your screen and just keep that in the frame, and just move your drone and it'll just kind of follow it or just keep it in the frame. And so I wanted to give you some examples of that. So really try to use the technology that you have at your fingertips to be able to get these shots. So I'm gonna show you one of the shots where, like they say, spotlights shot. Just see, I have to do that. Just put it here. Okay. Okay, so this is an example of where I locked onto the tower here, and so this is the spotlight. So this gives you, let's say, the subject, and you have the background. I can see a bird flying by. I'm also flying downwards, so not just completely horizontal. Okay, and I've just made a little bit of a shift in the movement there. So these things that you can also experiment with, and especially when you have the subject locked on, yeah, you can do numerous movements, like to the side, but also down, and then the gimbal will actually follow the subject. So that's also really important. Next point is, yeah, so I'm going to give you two examples, and one is like straight, when you kind of just flying into your subject, versus doing a reveal where you have your subject and you're actually, because you're turning a little bit, you're revealing more of your subject. And let's say it's less boring, because if you just flying forward, you know what's coming because it's right in front of you. But if you kind of turning slightly, then you still got your subject, but then the rest of the panorama is unveiling, and it gives more interest to the shot. So this is the straightforward shot. Okay, this is the kind of the same subject, just to give you a little bit of a. So this is again Albania. You have a church there, and then I'm just basically flying forward and just flying towards the subject, towards the church. Okay, and after a while it can get quite boring, because okay, you've seen everything there is to see, and you might just switch off. And then you have this one here, which is a little bit more of a circular shot. Okay, so here I'm closer to my subject, and so I'm kind of flying more around the subject. I don't think it's locked on there, so I didn't lock on to a spotlight, because it's actually, so it's not 100% the perfect shot, because again it wasn't, but I'm revealing more here. So you have a front subject, kind of the location, and then you're like, okay, now I can see the sea, now I can see there's a valley, I can see there's some more vegetation. So this is a kind of a more, I would say, interesting shot. I'm not saying it's perfect. Okay, so now I wanted to do a foreground background. So also it's like a sort of form of reveal, also using the spotlight function, where you can reveal the background whilst keeping the foreground. Okay, I think I have the wrong one there. Okay, so we'll just go back. Okay, this is more like a reveal. So you have your subject, and so this is more like much closer to your subject, but then slowly it reveals what you have in the background. And I think what's really beautiful with these Mavic 4s is that it gives you the opportunity to zoom in, and it gives a stronger cinematic effect than having this complete wide angle with the minis and not being able to play with foreground and background. Now this is a up and down reveal. So it's another technique, I would say, which is also quite specific to the Mavic 4 and its zoom. So here I'm shooting Berat, and this is I don't know, around 6 o'clock in the morning. The sun is coming up. You've got so it also creates a parallax. You also seeing parts of the village at the beginning, and then slowly the mountains behind are revealed. So it just kind of creates a more interesting shot. And that's what Nermin was saying, and a few others. It's like shooting something that is common, but in a different perspective. Okay, and I think I have one more video. So this one was more like let the scene move, but not necessarily the drone. I mean, I always try to move the drone slightly, even though it's more like a static shot. But you can also let the image move itself rather than the drone. So here you're going to got more like a static shot, and the waves are doing the movements, the people are doing the movement. So I mean, when I do a shot like this, I'm going to maybe do a few variables. So I'll do one when I'm completely static, let the picture move, and then sometimes I might kind of go down, or maybe go up, or then go slightly left and then slightly right. That it's not like completely static. Yeah. So that's that. And now I'm going to move on to like the critique. So this is more related to what you have uploaded, and I would like to. I mean, I know that I posted this just a couple of hours ago, so you've been uploading your photos and videos, but I would like to have a look at that, and also I can make some critiques, and of course you guys are also free. So I'm just going to share my screen in a different way. Window. Okay, I have my WhatsApp here. Share. Okay. So, where is that group here? Oh, here it is. There you go. Okay. So I want to see what's coming in. Okay. So yeah, this is the first photo that came in. This is from Juan. So I just want to kind of get your feedback on this. Somebody just jump in, because I have my critique about this photo, but does somebody want to raise their hand and make a comment? Nobody wants to make a comment? on this photo? Don't have to feel bad about critiquing people. Okay, Stefan, tell us your critique about this photo.
Okay, I like the photo, but to be honest, I think the perspective is kind of strange to me. So it's like the point of view, how I look at it, it's like kind of strangely tilted. So I have the feeling I want to turn my head to look at this, but I get the idea, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's maybe it could be a bit more pushed in. So, and it's kind of not fish, not meat, how you say in German. I don't know if you can say that internationally wise. The light is good, but it's like, yeah, it's, I have a problem with that kind of tilt. It's, I don't know. It's like I said, I want to look like this somehow. Yeah.
I agree with you.
My-
So I think there's a issue, like sometimes when you feel like you could rotate it and have a look at it from a different angle. But I think also when you have a Mavic 4 with the zoom, you can also zoom in a bit better, play a little bit more with the angles, and here with this kind of thing in the middle, it looks a little bit strange in terms of composition. So I'm not going to move. I'll move on to the next one. So yeah, so these ones I really like. I think the light is really good, and I think the subject is really good. And again, you got something closer, and then you got wider. And here's also the interesting with these reflections and next to the sea. So I think this one is really, really great. Okay, and I'm going to move on to some others. Okay, I think that's from Matt as well, so it's more or less the same. I think definitely Matt has a great eye, and also choice of day, which is great. Okay, so this is from Armand. I don't know if he intentionally uploaded this. Okay, so this is from Emily, and yeah, she showed me these the other day. So I'm just gonna quickly go through them. There you go. And can somebody raise their hand to do a little critique of this? And I think the intention, sorry, no, these are not enemies anymore. So the intention for Emily here is to shoot these vegetable gardens, like vegetation gardens. So can somebody raise their hand? Abjit, do you have something to say about these photos? Okay. Okay, so, okay, Sinbad, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say I do like a lot of the geometry I'm seeing. I very much like the lower building with like the garden on top, the shape and how it all blends together. The only real particular thing, I think there's like a little bit too much sky, like maybe like just 10% too much sky. But I very much like the layout, the lines of how the streets go and the buildings.
Great, great. Yeah, it's true. This one there is true. It's quite a lot of sky. Also, Emily, you must also be careful, like when you do the tilt of your gimbal, then the lines start to distort. So try to be aware of that as well. You could also, I mean, the composition here with the car, I think, yeah, could have been maybe a little bit better composed. Have maybe less of this, and maybe a little bit. You could have adjusted your angles a little bit. But otherwise, the light is great. And also I like in this one, I like the different, like you can actually see what town this is, and then you're actually showing the building, which is great. I'm gonna move on to, okay, I think these are Emily's as well. Okay, this is okay. I mean, the light is not, okay, this is France. So let's look at France's. That's great, I like that. Okay, back. I mean, I think the choice of day is also kind of okay. It could have been, yeah, I mean, it depends on the weather, but it could be maybe a bit lighter. Here, the compo, I'm not so sure about it, but yeah, it kind of maybe shows a little bit the ugliness. And yeah, these top of the buildings. I mean, I like this. This is very interesting. I think this would one will work well. Let's move on to Colas. Okay, that's very beautiful. Yeah, the only thing I would say maybe with this, I mean, I like the colors. Maybe a little bit like a tad on the kind of saturation of the greens. And yeah, this, I think this is a panorama, which is really cool. And yeah, kind of putting the foreground there. I mean, you can also play around, maybe kind of going a bit lower, having the propeller in the sky a little bit. But yeah, this is kind of looking at this and composing it in different ways. I think that's what's what the challenge is.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Welcome.
Okay.
I did
Sorry,
that.
somebody going to mute you here. Sorry. So let me just kind of go back. Okay, this I don't know if it really fits into the challenge per se, you know, like my changing environment, unless this road is brand new. I don't know. Yeah, this is very beautiful. The only thing I would say is that, I mean, this is a great establishing shot, I think, but I would be really interested to see, hey, what is this? It looks kind of far away. So I'm sure you have some closer shots, but this is definitely very dramatic and very beautiful. Yeah, so these are the kind of shots which are maybe not so, I mean, the light maybe not the best, but I think these are the kind of shots are really important to, because I mean, I don't even know what this is. So this is really good to shoot these kind of images and to learn from this. So I think Colas is on the call. Colas, what is this? Colas, can you unmute yourself? Okay, we'll continue to the next one. Yeah, again here, what I would say, you know, the subject is here and it's very, very small. So I'm sure that you most likely got some closer shots, but yeah, try to really compose with what you have. So I mean, here you have the dam and you have the electric power center, and then you have the pylons and the lines going out. So really trying to also play with these different subjects that you have and combine them into one, because this shot is great as an establishing shot, but in terms of storytelling, it'd be good to just kind of play with the different layers here. Whether you go, I don't know, towards the dam wall more, and then you kind of shoot the pylons going out. So I think it's I don't know if you shot to different angles, but this is something to also work on. Here I would say that, I mean, maybe because of the quality of the image, but it'd be nicer to be able to see a little bit more of this. I think the light is great, but this is a little bit too much in the shadows, in the dark. Maybe because the image quality is not the best, because it's from WhatsApp. Yeah, these shots are cool. These are seasonal, you know, right? Rapeseed. So it also puts into situation. This again, Cola. So I think the subject is great. The light is not so wonderful, a little bit flat. These are the videos. Yeah, so I was looking at these videos. So Alexander was like flying straight. He was actually flying backwards. So I'll just play it. Yeah. What happened now? There you go. So again, this is one of the kind of flying backwards is also a little bit awkward, because you're kind of getting a reveal as you kind of moving backwards. It's also interesting. Maybe this would work maybe better going forward, so you can actually see things, but he most likely shot. This is a top down of so this can be a little bit tricky sometimes if you're going too fast. So these shots are better when they're shot a little bit slower, because of also the jagged sometimes movements of the frame rate. So so these are cool. Yeah, so these, for example, I mean, my changing environment doesn't really fit in with that bill. I think you really need to try to especially for this challenge, because this is what we're trying to focus on, is my changing environment. So the subject is not so strong. This is not so strong either. I don't know what these are. Okay. Okay, so this is, I mean, now these are cityscapes, so it's not necessarily like a changing environment. So, but these are also quite successful, and I think this is something that we also need to get. But maybe my changing environment, maybe like with the construction site there. I mean, the reflection there is very beautiful. But again, trying to play around with my changing environment. So I can see a crane there. So how can I fit this beautiful building into constructions going on behind? And these are cool. These are also needed. Oh yeah, so there you go. This is one of them. Same one of Emily. Okay, Ahmani. So again, my changing environment. I don't know if it really fits. Also, in terms of composition. So this is a little bit cut here below. It's a little bit oversaturated. Again, so this Armani is you really need to hone onto a subject. So here you've got some villages. So try to get more of your subject in the frame. Okay. Okay, these are nice landscapes, but they don't really fit the bill. This would fit maybe more. Again, just be careful the light, time of day, and also the saturation. Yeah, so I'm gonna skip through these because there are quite a few of them. So here's a more interesting. Yeah, so okay, let's have a look at some drone moves here. Okay, that's interesting. Yes, we had one of the blades from the turbine. Maybe we've been able to actually have it more at the beginning of the shot. So yeah, again, this is interesting because doing a little bit more of a, so I can see that there's no like spotlight mode here. That's kind of handheld. So try to be sturdy in what you're shooting. And again, shoot with intention, saying, hey, I'm going to start from this turbine to the other turbine. So get the first turbine, it's turning, and then you're moving forward, then you got the next subject, and then moving to the next. So yeah, try to have that storytelling and that intention, like the beginning to the end. Okay, so this is also really great. Yeah, wanting to maybe reveal what is happening here on the right. There's quite a lot of non-subject here, whereas at the end of the day, this is, yeah, so now kind of the drone is turning faster now towards there, which is great. But again, it's like understanding beginning to end, have that real intention of like knowing where you're going to start and where you're going to end. So I'll just go through, okay, this is more like I think a zoom, which is cool. So this is also from Colas. Okay, it's also interesting. I mean, it'd be nice with a little bit of a movement, I think. Okay, the movement is now starting afterwards. Okay, yeah, this is cool. Maybe this is even Juan. Yeah, these are cool shots. Again, the light is not so great. Okay, so I'm not gonna go through all of them now. I think there's some really nice ones. Okay, great. So yeah, these are very nice. Yeah, I also want to see these kind of shots, you know, like city and pollution and I mean, like we're talking about Bali, you know, sometimes you need 2 hours to do 1 kilometer. So these are also my changing environments. I think that's also really important to be able to shoot. Yeah, this is great. This is perfect. Yeah, this is also very interesting. A little bit of cloud going by. Great. Okay, cars. It's also good. So Stefan, great. Yeah, pylons. Oh, Michael, wow, this is amazing. Great. I think this is a great opportunity to have a look at what we're all shooting and feel inspired, Also looking at, again, the drone moves, the composition, understanding what makes something cinematic. So it's a combination, and also the word like intention comes up a lot. And Craig also said about creative direction. So he was given creative direction of like how it should be shot. So be also your creative director, saying, hey, try to get it this way, start here, shoot with intention, choose the right time of day, choose your subject, take off, look around, establish what is important, how you can use different elements in your shots, so foreground and background, play with the zoom, play with the parallax effects, getting wide shots, getting closer shots, medium shots. So yeah, try to build your portfolio. When somebody comes across your shot, they're like, oh my God, there's like so many variants of this subject. So now I have some meat to work with. So I'm going to download all these clips because they're really going to make me be able to build a story. So yeah, I think today was very interesting, and thanks also for this interaction. I think that's also really important. And I'm going to give like maybe another 5 minutes in case you have any questions. If you want to raise your hand, and any questions. Sinbad?
Yeah, sorry, a very quick question. Maybe I'd missed this on the last meeting, but how do we specifically upload the photos and videos for the My Changing Environment Challenge? Because I uploaded some stuff I thought was cool, but I guess I just uploaded it to the general Amazing Aerial platform because I don't think it was there.
So we haven't given a specific tag, but what we're going to be doing is monitoring your work. I'm seeing some exceptional work coming in. So it's not about adding a specific tag, which we're going to be recognized. So we know who's in the challenge. We know what the subject is, My Changing Environment. So we're going to be looking at that rather than a tag. Yeah. And also in terms of timeline. So we know when the challenge started, and it's ending at the end of August. So during that time, we'll be able to monitor it.
Gotcha.
Any other questions?
Sorry, I was just to say, I guess I was confused because there was a little like submission tab thing in the NAS challenge, so I guess that was not part of it, but my bad.
Yeah, correct. It's a good question. So there aren't ever any bad questions. So it's a good question because it came up a few times already. Jonathan?
Yeah, maybe I missed it, but does these photos or videos have to be aerial photos or videos, or are ground photos okay?
Ground photos, definitely, yeah. It's about storytelling. It's about storytelling. So it's and I think it's also important to also get some close-up shots.
Yes, because the last challenge was, I think, just about aerial photos and videos. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
That's right. So this is everything.
Okay.
Great. Well, hey, Emily, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. This was great, Paul, and loved hearing everyone's commentary, including on mine. I was wondering, as far as composition goes, sometimes I've been told to leave some extra room at the top or something so that people can overlay words over it or something. So is that some of mine I've intentionally left kind of like less cropped for that reason? Is that still okay for the challenge, thinking about their eventual commercial use?
I think you have a good point. So copy space is always really important. I mean, that was one of the requests from the Net Geo front page was like, we need some space for some text. Yeah, for sure. Always, I mean, you can also have, again, when people are searching, they can also have similars coming up. So if you do have, you're shooting your subject, you can also shoot some, okay, let me just compose it as the image, but then you can say, hey, let me also compose this with a little bit of thoughts in terms of text, like horizontal and vertical. So if somebody wants to use it for a vertical image or a horizontal image, so yeah, definitely think about copy space. So again, your images, they will appear in the similars, so people can then choose from the series of your images of
you
what
guys-
they want.
Are you guys culling as heavily for similars on this one? Because I also didn't upload any of the ones that were too similar because I didn't, but I could do a wider crop and a tighter crop of the same photo if they didn't get screened out.
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, like a horizontal and a vertical, then that's not similar. If we really see that in terms of composition that you're making the effort in terms of shooting the subject from different angles and trying to yeah, so that's something that we must be also, and I'll make a note to our curators to also make a note of like, okay, try to also identify if somebody is trying to compose this image for also copy space.
Cool, thanks.
Right. Thanks, Emily. Jennifer?
Hi, good morning. I'm in the car now. Can you guys hear me okay still?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, fantastic. I just had a quick question on the upcoming weeks for the challenge. I'm heading to Vietnam on Saturday, and I will not have my computer with me, and I will have minimal phone time as well, just for where we're going to be. So is it okay to complete those weeks after they have been done for everybody else?
Okay, so I think there's two aspects here. One is participating in the challenge and like in terms of interaction and learning. So if you're shooting with your drone there, you can always download from your drone directly to your phone. There's high-res previews, so you can also share what you're shooting on the go. The other aspect is downloading the high-res and uploading them to Amazing Aerial for sale. So yeah, I mean, it'd be good that you fit within the challenge timelines.
Okay.
But again, if you go outside to the challenge timelines, it might not be eligible for the prize, but of course it's going to be added to your portfolio, and of course it'll be of value to clients, so it doesn't lose its value at all.
Oh, no, that's more than fine. I just wanted to make sure. I'm going to try to upload. Part of the time we're there, we're going to be in a cave, and I won't have cell phone service for I think like a week and a half is what they were saying. So
Okay, great. You're going to be in a cave for a week.
yes, we're going to the Shandong cave and then a few other caves in that area.
Great. Well, enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Anybody has any other question? Okay, great. So, Abdul?
Good day, Paul.
Hi.
My question is, if I have already shoot a location before in a different perspective, can I reshoot it again in another perspective from another angle, and will it be accepted to the challenge?
Yeah, so I think it's the whole idea is when you live in one place, you can go to that location a few times, which is like for sunrise and during the day and different weathers and different seasons. So for sure, I think it's important to shoot all these locations in different lights. So yeah, for sure, you can do that.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Great, guys. It's been nearly an hour and a half. I don't want to make it too long. I think shorter is better, more intense. So thanks for joining today. I hope you got some value from that. We have the WhatsApp group, so please participate in that, upload. It'll give me the opportunity and others to see what you're shooting, to making comments, recommendations, critiques. Really, I think what's really important is critique is not a criticism. So I always come with the intention of when I'm giving some critique or advice to somebody, it's not at all a shaming aspect. It's rather like, hey, you can really improve here. And I think let's also try to keep that energy in terms of how we critique other people's work, because I think we all have a lot to learn. I can see when we go on our drone trips, we're all learning from each other all the time, and that's the real beauty. So please upload and please critique. And if you have any questions, for sure you can WhatsApp me, or you can just WhatsApp directly in the group, and we can answer them as well. Guys, have a great day. Let's give a little bit of emoticons here, and you can unmute yourself to say goodbye. And see you next week. So this is weekly at the same hour.
Wicked. See you next week,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
See you next week. Bye.
See you. Bye bye.
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 Thank you for
Enjoy yourselves.
Bye.
Enjoy.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. See ya.
Bye.